welcome to the Charlotte Real Estate Made Simple podcast, where we demystify the real estate process in the Charlotte and surrounding areas. We are Highland Real Estate, and I'm the broker in charge and one of the co-owners, Cory Warren.
And I'm the marketing director and co-owner, Sid Warren. So today we're going to be answering the question, what is a CMA? You may have heard of it before. These three letters stand for comparative market analysis. So in other words, it's just a home valuation. A quick definition we pulled up on the internet explains it pretty simply. A comparative market analysis is a process your real estate agent will perform in order to get a good idea of an appropriate listing price for your home.
Right, so what's the purpose of a CMA? When do you need to know what your house is worth? Well, when you're a seller of your home, you want to know what your house is worth, because you don't want to offer your home at a too low of a price. You don't want to offer your home too high of a price. There's been people that we've worked with that in our initial consultation, we would say, well, you know, what do you think your house is worth, or what would you like to get for your house? And one client in particular said, well, I'd be thrilled to get $150,000 for my house. And we did our CMA and determined the valuation in the current market to be $180,000. So our recommendation was to put the house on the market for slightly above that. And we ended up selling the house for $180,000. So that's an extra $30,000 that came to our client based on our professional knowledge of how to value a home in the market that we're in. It goes the same for buyers. If you're a buyer of real estate, you don't want to just pay the price that someone's offering a house for, because you may be paying too much. So we do a market analysis, a home evaluation for our clients, their sellers. So we know how to price the house properly and get the most for our sellers. And we also do a CMA, or home evaluation, for our buyers, so that they're not paying too much for a house. Anything you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about a CMA is that a lot of times our CMAs will be really close to what a house will end up appraising. Now, you can't use a CMA for that purpose because it's not official in that sense, but it's cool to get that really close idea, and on top of that, it's free. We do that for free for our clients.
Exactly, that's a good point, because a CMA is done by a real estate professional, a realtor like us, and we use a number of a bunch of information, a number of techniques to ascertain a value. Our services are free in that regard, really. I mean, they're for our clients. If you're listing your home with us, or if you're a buyer client with us, we provide that service for you. Whereas an appraisal is done by an appraiser, and they're going to charge in our market usually between $350 and $500. The purpose of our CMA is to inform our clients and to guide them. The purpose of an appraisal is really for the bank's benefit, so they can make sure that the amount of money that they're loaning to their client coincides with the actual value of a property. We have seen people putting in offers for houses in a frenzied market that were too high, and when they go through the mortgage process, the bank says, hey, you put an offer in for $230,000, but our appraisal says that the house is worth $200,000. We're not going to loan you $200,000 based on $230,000. We're going to make you a loan based on the $200,000. So that's the purpose of an appraisal that's done by a licensed appraiser. A CMA, or a market analysis, is done by a real estate professional to benefit their clients. So what goes into a CMA? What do we look at? Well, some of the things, we're going to look at comparable properties that have recently sold, preferably in the last 3 to 6 months. So we want current data. We don't want to compare a house that sold back in the housing crisis in 08 to 012 or anywhere in that area. We don't want to compare a house that is sold 20 years ago, where prices were very different. We want recent sales that have taken place. We want properties that are currently listed in the multiple listing service. We want properties that are non-distressed and not foreclosures, not homeowners or investor specials that need extensive work to fix up, unless the property that we're representing is in that same condition. We want to look at how long properties sat on the market before they sold. I mean, if a property had been on the market for 1,000 days and finally sold, that's different than if a house went on the market and sold in 2 days. Both are going to give us clues as to how they were priced and the value that corresponds with the selling price. We also want to look at property listings that have expired or have not sold. That's going to give us a little bit more data, and we want to look at location. We'd like for the comparables that we use in evaluating our subject property to be preferably in the same neighborhood or in as close a proximity as possible. I mean, if you can imagine, the easiest thing for us to do a CMA is a subdivision with tract houses, where every house is built exactly the same, they were built within the same couple years, they all have the same features, and if we had 3 to 5 of those that sold within the last six months, we can tell you almost exactly what a particular house is worth. Now, if we have a unique house, like some of the ones we've seen and have represented for our clients, they're one of a kind. You'll never find another one like them. Now, that takes a little bit more effort, but we can still draw from our knowledge of the market and the extensive information we have through the MLS system to come up with a value that's fair for the benefit of our clients.
Yeah. So we perform the CMA, and we send this document to you, and to some, I think it could probably be a little overwhelming. It was for me the first time I saw it. It's usually between maybe 5 to up to 15 pages, depending on how much information we include. But anyways, what you're going to want to be looking at is we're usually going to aim to have 3 to 6 comparable properties that we're comparing your house to. So you're going to want to look at what they sold for, how long they were on the market. For instance, if we have a bunch of houses that are all really similar, and one sold for, let's just say, $220, and it was on the market for 20 days, and one sold for $250, and it was on the market for like 300 days. Well, that gives us that really gives you a lot of information. It says, well, if I, price my property closer to 250, it's not going to sell real quick. Whereas if I price it closer to 220, I'm going to be, sold within, a couple months or a month. It's not going to take any time. So,
well, if I can interject,
sure.
We do like to try to give a range to our clients where we'll say, we're not going to give oftentimes an exact number. We can't present an exact number, but what Sid was presenting as far as the time factor is important too. Let's say you have a house that's actually worth, let's just say $150,000, and let's say we price it at $50,000. How quick is it going to sell? Well, it's going to sell in a day, maybe if not an hour. In other words, go into contract. But let's say this same house that's really worth $150 in this market, our client wants to list it for $250. We may sit on it for years, literally years. So a range helps. And of course, the range would be tighter if it's worth $150. We may say, the market's a little bit fast. We may want to go $157, $159.9, and see if we can pull in some extra buyers or maybe get into a multiple offer situation. Although understand you might miss the great opportunity to sell right away in a fast market, or we could actually capitalize on that and get more money, and it could appraise.
Yeah.
Whereas
and that's what a CMA boils down to is a range. We're not giving this to you expecting you to sit, look at it and know exactly what everything means. We're going to give you the range, and we're going to explain what that range means. It doesn't mean, your house might be worth something between here. The range says a lot more than that. It deals with time. There is always an element of randomness. I mean, we can't tell you exactly. So that's what that range is for. But when we give you the CMA, we explain it to you, and we don't leave you on your own on that.
Yeah, with our professional recommendation. I mean, we're going to guide you, and we know what the market does, and this is another reason why it's very important to pick a real estate broker that you can trust, because there is a lot of times brokers might try to overprice a house to impress a client, feeling that after a couple weeks of no-shows that they can bring the price down. It's one of the tactics that's utilized that's very unethical, that we've never practiced and don't believe in. Everything should be honest and upfront, and our job is to guide our clients in the real estate process so that they can be successful in their endeavor, whether it's to sell their home for the best price possible or to buy the perfect house for themselves at the best price that they can get. And there should be no meddling with the numbers. The numbers should speak for themselves, and they should be well documented in a proper CMA. And that's, again, why it's very important to pick a real estate brokerage firm, and more so than that, an individual real estate broker that is experienced and that is honest, because there's a lot at stake in a real estate transaction.
Yep. So if you have a home for sale, we do offer free CMAs on our website. If you just go to highlandrealestate.us/valuemyhome, we'll be able to, knock one out and tell you a good range of what your house will be worth. And if you or anyone you know needs real estate advice, that's why we're here. That's why we do this podcast. Give us a call. My number is 704-819-2361.
And feel free to call me as well, 704-477-5423. At Highland, we're a team, so it doesn't matter which of us you call. We're not in competition with each other like other firms. We work together, and each of us plays an integral part in your real estate journey. So you got the benefit of all of us when you hire one of us.
Definitely. You can also just leave a comment down below if you have a quick question. That's a great quick way to get in contact with us. And if you have suggestions for future episodes, we love to hear about that too. You could influence our next episode. Just ask us a question, and it could become an episode. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we'd love your input, and we're going to try to get more and more creative. We're sort of working our way through the podcast realm. It's a lot of fun, but thank you for listening to this week's episode of Charlotte Real Estate Made Simple. We hope that you'll join us next Monday as we continue to demystify the real estate process in the Charlotte area. I hope you have a great week.
Thanks.